Hello everybody. Today we are speaking on the proliferation of racial bias through artificial intelligence algorithms. We will be presenting in the format of a Pecha Kucha presentation, with a new slide appearing every 20 seconds. We will dive into the technology behind these algorithms and examine both the ethical implications and policy initiatives related to this issue. Artificial intelligence functions much like the human brain. Large amounts of data are fed into the system to train or educate it. Then, a series of complex algorithms process and interpret that information. The system is then capable of performing whatever tasks it has been trained to perform while taking into account the data it has been trained on. As the name suggests, artificial intelligence is meant to mimic human intelligence. Using the data it is trained on, it can do anything from performing complex math calculations to synthesizing and summarizing information collected across multiple sources. Today, both individuals and businesses are incorporating AI into every aspect of their daily lives. What happens when the data these systems are trained on is flawed? Well, unfortunately, we can run into a lot of serious problems. Chief amongst them is algorithmic bias, which is the way in which artificial intelligence and other computer systems systemically and often unintentionally reflect and perpetuate the inequalities and inequities present in modern society. In a world already facing an uphill battle in the war against racism, it is essential that our technology helps break down rather than reinforce racial inequalities and discrimination. These inequities have been woven into the fabric of our society for centuries, and while we have seen changes for the better in recent years, the problem as a whole still remains and must be addressed. To get an idea of just how extensive these racial inequities currently are, we will quickly examine some statistics from the Center for Disease Control. These disparities start in the delivery room, with black women being 3 times as likely as white women to die while giving birth. The same disparities are reflected at the end of the lifespan as well, with white men and women living longer, on average, than black men and women.
One relatively recent example can be found in the 2019 study revealing that an algorithm from Optum that is widely used in the U.S. healthcare system contains significant racial biases. This particular algorithm, trained on a vast amount of patient data, has been used by hospitals across the U.S. to predict which patients are likely to need additional medical care. This algorithm was found to heavily favor white patients over black patients. It was discovered that the reason for this bias is that one of the metrics the algorithm was trained on was previous healthcare costs instead of actual illness, and because less money is spent on black patients than white patients in general, the model was falsely concluding that black patients were healthier than equally sick white patients. Thankfully, as a result of this study and the attention it gained, Optum was able to work with researchers to reduce the level of bias in their algorithm. But there is a clear need for more frequent checks and revision of these types of algorithms to lessen the occurrences of these types of racial biases. Another recent example can be found in the case of North Point's Compass algorithm. This algorithm is used by U.S. courts to classify criminal defendants' likelihood to reoffend. The Compass algorithm is trained on over 100 features and has serious implications in the justice system and criminal sentences. Although North Point tried to argue that its model performed well because it predicted similar likelihoods of reoffending among both black defendants and white defendants, in reality, black defendants were over 2 times as likely to be misclassified as high risk of reoffending by the model as opposed to their white counterparts. Given that an algorithm like this is used so widely and can have an impact on the severity of a defendant's sentence, it is deeply troubling to find these kinds of racial biases present in this AI algorithm. It has gained a lot of media attention, which will hopefully drive policy changes and more regulation to lessen this model's bias in the justice system.
Facial recognition software has gone mainstream in recent years, with it replacing fingerprint as the means to unlock the majority of mobile phones on the market today. However, amongst the various methods of biometric authentication, facial recognition has been shown to be the least accurate, especially when identifying people of color, and also brings up significant privacy concerns. A 2018 study known as the Gender Shapes Project found significant racial and gender biases across multiple facial recognition programs. The discrepancies were severe, with facial recognition platforms being up to 34% more accurate for lighter-skinned males than for darker-skinned females. The study also found IBM and Microsoft guilty of algorithmic biases for their racial recognition software. In order to eliminate bias from these algorithms and protect the privacy and freedoms of the public, it is important that we refine the dataset being used to train the algorithms and continue to bring attention to the matter. Multiple congressional hearings have been held on the topic to help inform future laws on facial recognition, and with a particular emphasis on managing its use in surveillance and criminal investigations. The first Algorithmic Accountability Act was introduced in 2019 and required companies to undergo sufficient assessments on high-risk systems and systems that make automated decisions. It came off the back of several stories regarding algorithmic bias in AI that received significant media attention. The Algorithmic Accountability Act was revisited in 2022. This revision increases attempts at limiting bias in the use of AI algorithms by requiring companies to access the impacts of their automated AI systems and provide further transparency to consumers about when and how AI systems are being used in decisions. As technology advances, its role in society will grow more and more until it's fully entrenched in our lives. We must not shy away from the difficult conversations that must be had in order to navigate AI's ethical and legal landscape. If we are careful and responsible, AI has the potential to become one of the most important technological breakthroughs of all time.